What's up, y'all? This is John, Mike, and Caleb back for another episode of the Nothing Finer podcast. As always, you can find us on Fans First Sports Network, and obviously it's Sunday. We're live on YouTube. Y'all check us out there. None of y'all are here yet because I forgot to share the link, which I will do right now. But live Thursdays on Millions, all the fun stuff. We've got a lot to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
Boy, do we.
It's
Did
wild.
something happen yesterday? I wasn't aware that anything insane happened yesterday.
A number of things. I'll let y'all talk about how you've been. And
Well,
we'll get into it. 'Cause I gotta post this and I can't concentrate. I'm kind of dumb.
gotcha. Well, I'm going to be relatively quick because we got so much to get into. But I have been good. Again, the last couple of weeks after what has been an insane fall of Saturdays for me, the last couple of weeks I've just been able to kind of sit at home and watch football all day,
So you're
There you
which
not
is
go.
my
allowed to watch
favorite.
football anywhere else. If the last 2 weeks or the first two you've been at home.
Yeah, no, which we don't have plans for any of these other days. I will be watching at home the rest of the season. Um, so yeah, but again, it's been real nice. And for what I'm drinking, I've got a McDonald's lemonade, and it's okay.
Right. No, I'm awesome. I know it's been a little while since I've been on. Just life was life and super busy with stuff. Um, with getting my in-laws moved and everything. So that's pretty much done now, for the most part. So that's always good. But it was cool to see, John and Will and met Perry for the first time at the game. It was kind of, had 24 hours notice to get up there, so that was pretty awesome. It's the first night game that I've been to, and that was incredible, incredible.
Yeah, no, it was a good time. Did you drive home right after the game?
I did. That was insane. I'm never
Oh,
doing that again.
what time did you get home?
I got home at 4:30.
So, we talked about this yesterday before the game. The parking pass that you almost bought that we ended up parking in that deck. Would you like to know what time we got back to my in-laws' house in Bethlehem? Just because we had to walk to that parking deck uh and then get out of the parking deck was the worst part.
2:30.
It was 2:15.
Dang, dang,
So
dude. I got all the
you
way
got
back to
home two
Savannah.
hours after me.
So yeah, so I parked at the intramural deck, and they said it was $20. I didn't end up getting charged. I don't think I got a ticket or anything like that. So I mean, it worked out. But dude, I was in and out. I mean, the Red Coat band was in there, and they were, hightailing out of there too. I mean, right on the College Station and out of there like super quick. So that's always gonna be my spot. It has been, but it always will be from now on.
Yeah, we parked at Carlton Street, which is right by where Candler and Perry and everybody tailgates.
Mhm.
And it was cool being able to get out of the car and not have to Uber to the tailgate. But then,
Right.
half a mile walk uphill to the car to then sit, and everybody trying to get out of the parking deck just stopped because, yeah, no, it was a lot. I will say, before we get into any of the games, just the game, the environment of the game. I want to talk about that because there's two of us there, and I normally hit on it a little bit. But did you have any issues with any Texas fans?
No, they were all awesome, and like I mean, and even the Georgia fans, like to them, were good. I mean, I was in the one of the end zones on the 100 level, so like everybody was. I mean, there wasn't too many Texas fans that I even ran into, but the ones that were there were pretty respectful, and they really didn't talk trash because they couldn't. But I mean, like everybody was pretty respectful for the most part.
Yeah, and so I know I talked a lot of trash about Ole Miss fans because one of them very clearly did not accidentally spill beer on my wife's purse. Um, but dude, we had a Texas fan in front of us, behind us, and to our left, and they were all awesome the whole time.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
before the game, talk a little trash, shake hands, like, hey, nothing towards you, just the game kind of thing. And it was nice because we've had a lot of issues with opposing fans in our section over the years. But no, this is awesome, and I was kind of expecting the Texas fans to suck, if I'm being
Yeah.
entirely honest.
Yeah, I thought they would be the worst. I thought they would just be like Tennessee fans for the most part, but there weren't. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Pleasant surprise.
We do have to talk about one thing in the environment that was funny.
Okay.
Matthew McConaughey left with 4 minutes left in the game. And
Is that why Arch was crying?
no, so me and Kelsey were keeping an eye on him towards the end of the game because it was at that point when Georgia had the backups in, it was like, okay, let's keep an
Okay.
eye and see if he leaves early because traffic to the PJ, getting all the way back to Austin, like it's a little bit of a headache, right? So we keep an
Mm.
eye on him, and it was when Arch came over to the sideline, it looked like he started crying, which I believe he did based on the
Yeah.
pictures. Which it's not the first or second time I'm pretty sure Georgia's made Arch cry, but we see McConaughey walk down to the bench and do just a U-turn, like go. I think he shook the Siler's hands, the
Oh, cool. Okay.
Uga family, because
Yeah.
he was spending most of the time actually by the doghouse, which is kind of why we were able to see him so well. And
Mhm.
then there were a lot of pictures of him going into the tunnel with like 4:10 left. Just oof,
Yeah.
culture ambassador for sure. Because he left early, your team didn't show up. It matches.
Hmm.
Yep.
That's funny.
Um, so also we kind of hit on it a little bit. They shouted us out. We shout them out all the time. But Will from the SDS podcast hung out at the tailgate, drank with him and Perry and Candler, and
Mm.
had a good time. It's always fun. And then I know we don't talk politics on the show, but one of my friends, a guy that I deployed with, is running for governor, and I'll send you guys the picture. But we got a picture with him in the stadium
Oh, sweet.
that might be the coolest picture I have ever seen taken of myself. And, you know, we got a lot of cool pictures of,
Mm.
especially being deployed to Afghanistan and all that kind of stuff. Like your friends take pictures, but somebody took a picture of me and Kelsey and my friend Ken running for governor that right as the fireworks went off at the end of halftime.
Nice.
So we're all just
Love
like
that.
bathed in red light with the fireworks going off behind us. I just sent it to the group chat. It's
He's got to definitely share that. That has to be a campaign thing
he
for him.
did. He
Oh
shared
yeah.
it
Did
this
he?
morning
Oh,
because
oh, did he?
that's
Good.
Okay.
yes. And I have a water bottle in my hand instead of a beer, so it's like it's perfect campaign picture. Oh, all right. One of the best or worst things we got to get into tonight: the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Man.
Um,
Shane Beamer pulled a Steve Sarkisian, it would seem.
Yeah.
uh, is South Carolina trying to take over Clemson? Because Clemson tried to Clemson on Friday night and still won the game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
South Carolina stole all of the Clemson energy, it would seem.
And boy, that's why you don't rush an opposing team's field because they sure have just Clemson ever since.
Mhm.
But if you haven't seen the stat, before yesterday, SEC teams were 0 and 286 when trailing by 27 points. As of today, SEC teams trailing by 27 points are 1 and 286 because A&M came back from a 30-3 halftime deficit. And in all honesty, it appears that Shane Beamer handed Marcel Reed the Heisman.
Oh yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And, I was playing in our fantasy league, I was playing against Connor from the STS podcast. And he had Marcel Reed and Casey Concepcion.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Those two players had him
Mhm.
5 points by halftime. Those two players had him 49 points at the end of the game.
Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah. What's crazy is that there were probably multiple moments in that first half. I didn't watch this game in its entirety. I watched probably the middle eight, and in that last few minutes of the second quarter, there were probably four balls that should have been intercepted thrown by Marcel Reed, and any one of those might have made a difference in this game if South Carolina could do something with the next possession.
What sucks about this for South Carolina is they're wasting the best quarterback that they have ever had in the history of the school. With no disrespect to like Connor Shaw and Steven Garcia and like some of the better guys that have had play quarterback there.
Sellers is just different.
Yeah.
Right. I've said it since I think like week one. He is Superman. The problem is the rest of the team is kryptonite.
Mm-hmm.
He deserves better. He needs to go somewhere else.
Well, he's got enough good tape that he could probably just go to the NFL if Anthony Richardson got drafted
I was about to
with
say.
less good tape. Lenore Sellers can absolutely get drafted.
Mm-hmm.
Did AR have any good tape?
He had a non-game clip of him throwing a ball really far.
Oh, that's cool. Hell yeah.
No. He who was it? Was it Sanford that he needed to score 70 points because the defense gave up 50? Was that him?
That's true. Yeah, that was him.
Yeah. So
he did also throw a beautiful pass to Nakobe Dean for a touchdown in the 21 Georgia game.
That was sick. Yeah.
that's also true. Yeah. The equivalent of what he's done in the NFL as the 4th overall pick.
Right.
I hate it for South Carolina because even at the end of the game, if the offensive line just didn't give up sacks in the fourth quarter, they win the game.
Yeah.
If the kicker doesn't suck, they win the game.
Yeah.
And they couldn't do any of it. They couldn't. And like I've said for weeks now, at some point, it is Shane Beamer's fault. Whether it's his fault because they can't recruit offensive line, they can't develop offensive line, they don't have a good offensive coordinator, they don't have anything. Like, whatever it is, as a leader, as the sole responsibility for the football team, you're responsible for everything your team does and fails to do. And they failed for 30 straight minutes in the second half of that game.
Catastrophically, some might say.
For the umpteenth time this season. And I don't know. Like, Clemson's not good, and Clemson's probably still going to beat South Carolina because the only good thing Clemson has is their defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to just run through South Carolina. And especially with Nick Harbor being taken to the hospital from an injury, he's really come on this season, which I hate it for him as a guy who was convinced to not focus as much on track and go to focusing on football and finally having a standout year to be taken to the hospital in the middle of the game where your team blows it because of the offensive line and you're the only wide receiver that was seemingly able to catch a pass.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks for South Carolina fans. I can't say it sucks for Shane Beamer because I trust Kirby's character assessment, and he hates Shane Beamer. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where it comes from, but there's a reason.
Something's up.
Yeah.
It's like my dog. If my dog doesn't like somebody, I'm going to assume you're not somebody I should trust. So.
Yeah, facts. All right, so the next game, obviously it was a big one. It was supposed to be not exciting.
But boy, was it.
Yeah.
So, we're talking a little bit of family tree here. And apparently there's a lot of incest in the SEC because Oklahoma appears to be our grandfather.
Yeah.
Because.
But they are also our grandson at the same
correct.
time.
I don't get it. If you haven't seen it, it's Oklahoma can't lose to Bama, who can't lose to Georgia, who can't lose to Texas, who can't lose to Oklahoma. Like, it's just a big we'll call it a family bush because it's not very tall. It's just all in the middle.
Edges.
Like George.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Oklahoma once again knows how to force turnovers against Bama. Took away 2 fumbles and a 87-yard pick six. I will say, good news for Bama is that even though you had the same number of turnovers as last year, they weren't all interceptions, and you did score more than 0 touchdowns in this game.
That's true. There's market improvement, one might
Yeah.
say. Although they were
Absolutely.
also at home.
Yeah.
But on a real note, Alabama's still in complete control of the number 2 spot in the SEC. A&M, A&M and Alabama both have difficult games to close out the season. A&M's obviously playing Texas and Austin. Alabama's playing an Auburn team that seemingly, as soon as they fired one of the best offensive minds in college football, actually has an offense. I don't understand it, but
Because he's not actually one of the best offensive
Yeah.
minds in college football.
yeah, you're probably right. But I mean, not to harp on Hugh Freeze and Auburn, but if
Hard
Hugh
all
Freeze
day. Come on.
if Hugh Freeze was a great coach at Arkansas State and a great coach at Ole Miss and a great coach at Liberty, and then goes to Auburn and can't score more than 24 points,
Might be
and
another problem in the works.
Yeah.
I can't say Hugh Freeze is the only problem, but he damn sure is a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Alabama's still in complete control of this one. But with that being said, we're all Auburn fans in 2 weeks because if Auburn wins the Iron Bowl late November, Jordan Hare, Georgia will play in the SEC title game, not against Alabama. Which
That's our best path to an SEC championship.
and
Need
odd-
I remind you.
and oddly enough, so like the way like the playoff prediction is gone, I think like I can't remember who posted it, but Georgia's, I think somebody guessed them to be the 3 seed right now. I'm like, could they end up getting a bye and not playing the SEC championship? Because that would be maybe best case scenario.
I think it
that
would
is
take
possible.
yeah, it would take Alabama losing to A&M in an SEC championship game,
Yeah.
and it would probably take Ohio State losing to, just in terms of most likely routes for the Big Ten, Ohio State losing to Michigan and then losing the Big Ten championship game. I think those
Very
two things happening would make Georgia get a first round bye.
Well, if Michigan beats Ohio State, are they still in the Big Ten title game, or have they lost?
No, Michigan would take their spot because
That's
I think
true.
Michigan only has
one conference loss right now.
they'd have the head-to-head. So
You're right. My brain keeps thinking that they lost this weekend to Northwestern, but
they
actually
should
ended
have
up winning.
lost.
Yeah.
They should have lost.
Well, woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Hey,
Don't
don't
I ain't
don't
gonna be
sleep on
Auburn fans about it.
Northwestern. They're knocking coaches out.
That's true.
Yep.
That they are.
One thing that I truly do not understand about this Alabama team, and we've talked about it before, but they once again held the ball for the majority of the game with just under 34 minutes of possession, but they had 80 total rushing yards.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's truly a feat that they're able to do this. And so Alabama realizes they can't run the ball, and even to Kalen DeVore and Ryan Grubb's standard, can't run the football. So they moved around pieces on the offensive line this week, going into the Oklahoma game, because they're like, you know what? Our tackles being freshmen, that's a little concerning. Let's kick them inside the guard. Let's put some more experience on the outside. And it was worse. It made everything worse. They shouldn't have done that before playing like a top 3 defense in the conference. Probably a very, very bad decision there. But it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Looks like y'all have some notes about this one.
Yeah, really the only thing I want to say about this is just, again, obviously I want Auburn to do the funniest thing ever and knock Bama out of the SEC championship and the playoff. But regardless of what happens, the schadenfreude of watching Alabama lose this game, it never gets old. I hope they play Oklahoma every year and lose to them every year. Plus, with the potential all-red playoff that people have been talking about lately is now a lot closer with the Oklahoma win. So that's exciting.
Who is the group of 5 red team?
UNLV.
Oh, what's their? I haven't paid
what's
attention
there?
to them since like week 2.
I think they need a lot of help to get in, but
well, then Oregon's gonna make it.
maybe. Maybe not.
I would think. I don't know.
I would think. I mean,
San
they're
Diego
probably
State's
a
still
lot.
alive for the playoff. They're red.
Okay, there we go. Yep.
Okay. Um, Oklahoma with this win, I mean, they might have messed around and got themselves a home playoff game,
Yeah, that's true. As long as they don't royally screw up against LSU.
which could happen.
Yeah.
But it is time for Mike DeBoer, good Lord. Kalen DeBoer to retire the black hoodie of death because
It's
they're just
no
not winning
longer.
this.
It is 0-2 against Skeletor.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Insane.
Talking about insane, a game that we thought could have been more interesting than it was. Mississippi State at Mizzou. Mizzou covered 7.5 points over a 51.5 hit. And, we talked about it the other night. When I said this was going to be a service academy type game for Mizzou, I didn't know that I meant almost a full season's worth of service academy offense from a single player.
Yeah.
Because if you haven't heard, because most people probably did not watch this game with Bama and Oklahoma on at the exact same time. Ahmad Hardy, which, one of, if not the best out of the best 2 or 3 running backs in the country, had 25 carries for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Wow.
Ali.
And he's a sophomore. So SEC fans will have to watch him do this again next year.
Does Georgia play Missouri next year?
I don't know, but what
so.
are the chances that he's still at Missouri next year?
That's a great question, too.
No, Missouri does pay people now, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think
but the last time the SEC had the best running back in the country, Ohio State came in, dropped a few million on Quinshon Judkins, and he had 12 carries in 12 games and then went off in the playoffs.
Yeah. Now, I will say, Georgia does get Missouri next year if he does stick around, but it is at home.
Okay. All right.
Matt Zollers, true freshman, third-string quarterback for Mizzou, who's played the last few games, didn't have the best game with Ahmad Hardy on the team. He didn't have to, including tackles for loss and sack yardage. Missouri had 326 yards rushing.
God.
One guy had 300. I don't understand Mississippi State's game plan for this one, though, because I like Blake Shapen. I've talked about him probably more than any other Georgia podcast there is, because I talked about him in the offseason about not sleeping on Mississippi State. I talked about how well he played in that Arizona State game last year and this year. I don't think he's a bad quarterback, but Kamario Taylor's the guy that Mississippi State needs to go with right now, especially when you're talking about one of the best defensive fronts in the conference, and you having wet gas station toilet paper as an offensive line. That you go with the mobile athlete, not the pocket passer, because he's never going to have a pocket to pass in.
And just look at what that did for Georgia.
Yep.
And Jeff Lebby is smart. He's a very good offensive coach. How did he only have I don't understand. I just don't. It's one of those things that it feels like everybody from Mississippi State's kind of given up on the season.
And they're one win away from getting to a bowl game.
Yes.
It's probably the best chance.
Well, I don't think they play much of anybody next week.
I think they either play a cupcake or get a bye. And if they get a bye, they're toast.
They have a bye.
So then they get Ole Miss.
They have a bye.
So yeah, that was their best chance.
It damn sure was. Yeah, Mississippi State seems to be making mistakes in the game planning and the personnel decisions and somehow executing to the best of their ability on the field with those mistakes. And it's just not enough when 6 days a week you're making the wrong choice.
Yeah. And I'll eat crow on this too, because I did say that Mississippi State would win this game by hitting some explosive plays and that Missouri wouldn't be able to keep up on offense. When I said that, I was expecting Mississippi State to actually attempt to hit some explosive plays. And I definitely wasn't expecting Ahmad Hardy to come be enough of a whole offense for Missouri for them to completely dominate. Maybe I should have expected it. That's what we've heard all year that he could do, but I hadn't really seen it yet. So, good win for Mizzou. Hopefully they can still find something to play for. I'm kind of upset that they're not in the playoff hunt anymore with everything, all the bad luck that they've had to endure so far with injuries and everything else. But good on them for getting a win out there. Good on them for really getting Ahmad Hardy in the game plan like they probably should have for a while now.
Is Mizzou the RBU for the 2020s? Is they've had some backs, man.
They
So
have
they
had some
have,
backs.
but none of them have really done anything in the NFL. Like Cody Schrader went undrafted, and he hasn't. I don't think he's seen a regular season snap for San Francisco.
Yeah, probably not.
So, and that's with Christian McCaffrey tearing his Achilles every other day. So I don't like if more of these guys had hit in the NFL, I would agree with that because they've had like every other year they have the leading rusher in the conference. They
Mhm.
just seem to disappear a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, did this game solidify Drink as not being the coach at Missouri next year? He's
I
allegedly gotten a lot of interest from LSU and Florida.
I think he was going to have that either way, as long as he didn't do something in this game that cost them, that just like really blew it, like one bad decision.
Yeah.
Would you
But I think it was
rather, as a Georgia fan, see Drink at Florida or Mizzou or LSU?
LSU?
probably LSU. I think which I mean, Florida fans tend to have delusional expectations for all their head coaches anyway, but I think he is more likely to succeed at a level where he would stick around for a while at Florida than he would be at LSU personally.
And he feels like more like a Florida guy anyway. Just, I
Yeah.
mean, all the shenanigans and antics and stuff like that. He feels like he's in that Spurrier mold, even maybe more so than Lane.
He does kind of feel like Jim McElwain goofy, but like he doesn't go deep sea fishing. You know?
And that's good.
Yeah,
Keep
that's
them
a good
sharks safe.
No, I like we've especially as Georgia fans, we've become Drink respecters over the last, since we started the podcast because it was immediately that
Yeah.
tight game in 2022, the 2023 game back in Athens where Big Nas had to get the interception to kind of seal that one. Like he's a hell of a coach, and I hate that Missouri is going to probably lose him because they don't. I just don't think they've got the capital to pay to keep him around and also keep up long term with top tier of the SEC spending, especially on rosters.
hmm
And honestly, he's topped out what he can do at Missouri. I can't imagine Missouri ever being like a consistently a playoff team. Maybe every once in a while, but I mean, he can do that at LSU or Florida for sure.
Well, I mean, this is going to be his first time in 3 years where he's not going to have a 10-win season in the regular season because he lost quarterbacks. Like they've
Yeah,
been in the games they've lost, they were close, and one of those they got down to their third string quarterback. You can't really put that on him.
right.
This
hmm
the golden era of the last arguably 20 years for Missouri because they're not disappointing you at the end of the season like they did in the mid 2000s.
Mm.
Um,
Speaking of disappointing,
Speaking of disappointments and disappointment since the mid 2000s, Florida at Ole Miss.
We
And
came on here and said some stuff, didn't we?
I personally lost more money than I would like to have lost
Yeah,
on this
me
game
too. Me too.
because Florida covered the 15 and a half. They covered the 13 and a half. They covered the 12 that I got on Saturday morning. Um, the over 53 and a half did hit. I mean, obviously, like Florida has a good offense as long as they're not playing the powerhouse of Kentucky.
Yeah. Doesn't make sense. It
yeah.
just doesn't make any sense.
Has anything about the University of Florida over the last few years made sense?
That is a fair point.
I just like I hate how wrong I was about the score in this one. Financially, this one pisses me off. Um, Florida is only good against good teams. They played well against Georgia, got blown out by Kentucky, come back and play well against the team ranked just behind Georgia. Doesn't quite
You
make any
beat
sense.
you beat Texas.
Yeah, beat
Yeah.
Texas. But are we sure Texas is a good team?
I was
Nope.
Um, but so my biggest takeaway from this game, because I kind of just watched the highlights, was Ole Miss fans showed Lane why they proved to Gainesville and Baton Rouge why Lane is not leaving Oxford, at least right now.
yeah.
Because at the end of a hard fought game against a bad team, which Florida's a bad team, and they fire their coach, they fire their coordinators, that half of their team is out because they just don't want to play for Florida anymore.
Relatable.
The fans stayed after the game and chanted, "We want Lane." But had that exact situation played out, number 6 team in the country, hosting a team that's not making a bowl game, if that happened in Gainesville or Baton Rouge, he's getting booed
Yeah.
out into
Yeah.
the tunnel. And obviously the rumors are Florida is going to hire him, and that probably had something to do with what the fans did. I still don't think if there were no rumors around Lane Kiffin going somewhere else, I still don't think they boo him off of that field
Right.
No,
because
he's responsible. This is the fourth 10-win season they've had
in 5
in a
years.
row. In 5 years, yeah.
Yeah,
It's unheard of. Not for Ole Miss.
right. Like this is the peak for Ole Miss. They're in it,
Yeah.
and they know it, which is more self-aware than any other SEC fan base. And I just like Florida fans need to take a look in the mirror because the fact that you booed your head coach out of the stadium multiple times last season, including after wins, and then you traveled to another SEC school with shirts and posters that said "Welcome to Lanesville, Coach Kiffin."
I didn't
Pathetic.
see that.
That's
Funny.
pathetic.
Like man, y'all need to get a grip because
Yeah.
you ain't getting Lane.
Yeah. I will say I do think some of the Florida guys maybe still want to put some good tape out there, and they figured no one was watching Kentucky, so they wouldn't even try, but they figured people are watching Ole Miss. But also, Ole Miss punched their ticket to the playoff, even with this ugly win, and that's really all they care about. And Lane has done enough just by getting Ole Miss to the playoff that they could name the stadium after him in Oxford. That's
Yes.
again, that's how beloved you can be at Ole Miss, just for succeeding at the level that delusional fan bases like Florida will bury you for not quite reaching.
Yeah, I just I'm trying to find the picture now to send it to you guys because it's hilarious, the signs and T-shirts, because these people are posting it proudly.
By the way, your picture came through with Ken. That is sick.
A total accident. Like we asked some random girl at the stairs, like, "Hey, can you take our picture?" And then we turn around and get ready, and dude, her jaw just drops as she takes it, and that was the first picture. It was.
Wow,
Dude.
that is awesome. That looks phenomenal.
You think it's Photoshop? No, it's luck.
Right? Yeah.
Um,
Maybe
Good
he's
Lord.
born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline.
I'm in this group trying to find the picture. Gator Nation. Hilarious. This is the group that renamed themselves Fire Billy Napier for a while. Um, somebody just legitimately had a post about if we can't get Lane, should we hire Jeremy Pruitt? And yes,
That's the
please.
level of cope they're on now. But yeah, please hire Jeremy Pruitt.
All right, I'm trying to find.
If we're gonna bottom out, we might as well do it spectacularly.
Yeah, really see. We don't know what the ceiling is. We're not going to find a coach that takes us to the ceiling. Let's find the floor.
Yeah. What?
I don't think we're there yet.
What is below rock bottom? We are a scientific institution. We need to know.
It's whatever Clemson's at right now.
Hey, Clemson beat a ranked team.
Oh, that's
week.
true. You're right.
Only because it was Friday night ACC. That is
Yeah.
the absolute only reason. I'm gonna be mad if I can't find this picture. Anyways, I'll look later. We need to get into the Georgia game,
Yes, we
and
do. I'm
I,
gonna say some stupid stuff, y'all.
you know, I'm just gonna say it. I'm disappointed in y'all. If you're listening to this podcast right now, if you're watching us on YouTube, if you're live on YouTube, I'm disappointed in you because you follow our social media. I say it every week. I know you do. So that means that you know the calling the dogs number, or you know how to find it. Georgia embarrassed number 10 Texas, made Matthew McConaughey leave the stadium early, made their quarterback cry. The tears of the Longhorns watered the hedges on Saturday night, and we didn't get a single damn phone call. I'm disappointed in every one of you.
That's a shame. That is a damn shame.
Hey,
Yeah.
Wesley, what are you doing? But Georgia did cover the 6.5 point spread under a 48.5 hit. And we've seen this story before. Georgia dominates Texas, but the first two iterations of this story, Texas tried to write a good ending for themselves. The they didn't. They couldn't. Took their
Nope.
pen, took the crayon, just whatever. They were eating some crayons. We took the rest. They didn't have enough left to write with. Couldn't do it.
At least they tried, though.
They did.
Yeah.
It took them most of the game to try, but they did. I will say the Sark was coaching scared for most of the night.
Oh yeah.
And they had a lot of things that worked. Like they weren't even necessarily screens. They would just snap the ball and throw it to the sideline because of the cushion that our defensive backs have been given all season. They get a free 5 to 12 yards every play with just catch the pass, whip it to the outside, 5 to 12 yards. And they just quit. Steve Sarkisian, who has allegedly been tested at like almost genius level IQ that he chooses to devote to football.
Made him a lot of money.
Do what?
They made him a lot of money.
It has. Lost him some on Saturday night because the job offers he got in the NFL dipped a little bit when they know he is going to lose to the Eagles every time they play.
Yes.
But no, so he's like, you know what? We've averaged 30 rushing yards a game against this team in the last 2 times we played. You know what I'm going to try and do?
Run him right down the middle, baby. Run it right down the middle.
They'll never stop one of them A-gap runs. I promise you. We'll just do it and do it and do it and do it.
Steve Sarkisian with his Waffle House menu in this game was everything that the Doomsday Dogs accuse Mike Bobo of being.
Yup. Because old Mikey was in his bag last night.
Yeah, so, he was.
Give him Broyles War now.
Legit, if he's not in Broyles Ward conversation, he needs to be. Because everybody says Lincoln Riley is one of the best offensive minds that the sport has seen. Lincoln Riley couldn't figure out what to do with Zachariah Branch.
Yep.
Mike Bobo did. Mike Bobo, statistically better offense than Todd Monken, who's by multiple accounts the best assistant hire of the playoff era.
And hey, none of us are arguing with that, but just statistically this season
and last season.
Yeah. And last season was objectively a bad offense.
Yeah. And so, man, I completely. A-gap runs, B-gap runs, inside zone, whatever they did. Running the ball has not worked, does not work, and will not work as long as Steve Sarkisian's their head coach.
Whatever reason. Not work, by the way.
Right.
Because they have a total 83 rushing yards in their last 3 games against the University of Georgia. Fun fact, Gunnar Stockton had almost 83 rushing yards against Texas.
Wow.
I don't feel like that's right. I hate to
All
call
right.
you out on the podcast
No,
like that, but
you could be entirely right. I've had a very long day of driving on no sleep.
I'll look it up.
I
Because
got it.
I feel like I
No,
saw this earlier.
Nate Frazier had almost
Nate
83
Frazier.
yards. There it
There we
is.
go. That sounds more right.
Yes. 72 yards by one guy. Total of 128 for the entire team. The team, including tackles for loss and sacks, had more rushing yards in one game than Texas had in the last 3 against Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And, regardless of the coaching, the players were playing scared.
Yeah.
Let's put it like this. If you took a shot or a drink for every time Arch double clutched a pass, you don't remember past halfway through the second quarter, and you probably ended up with alcohol poisoning in the hospital.
Yeah.
Because it looked like live action Happy Feet when Texas offense was on the field.
Mm-hmm.
He was terrified. And to be fair, he was visiting Georgia during the night games. Like, he was an official visitor when Georgia hosted LSU in 2023. Or not LSU, Ole Miss in 2023. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And he watched what happens when a quarterback's slightly indecisive.
Yep.
I just...
was great. I brought it up last night in the chat too. It didn't help that Gabe Harris was giving him Jalen Walker flashbacks with these pursuit angles he was taking. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah.
And this is something that the three of us have been asking for all season.
Mm-hmm.
Just Gabe's an animal. He is an athlete. It doesn't matter what position you want to call him. Put him on the field and say, see that guy back there that gets a snap? Hurt him.
Yep. Boy, did he do that.
Yeah.
Oh, the one fumble that they got lucky enough to fall on, I can tell you Arch feels that right now.
Yeah.
And, I do want to give credit to their defense because Colin Simmons and Anthony Hill Jr. and the true freshman number 40, I can't remember his name, but we talked about him with Tyler on Wednesday. Animals. Truly are.
Yeah.
Like, the entire defense goes through those three guys. And they played their asses off. Specifically, Anthony Hill Jr., there's a hit where the ball is coming off of Gunnar Stockton's fingertips while he is completely horizontal getting speared by Anthony Hill Jr. The pass was completed, was the difference between Texas getting hit all night and Gunnar Stockton when he got hit. And, while we're on the Texas defense, how many Texas players have lost significant draft stock and money based on Georgia games?
Got to be plenty of them.
Yeah.
The angles that they take, the times, the play where London Humphreys and Oscar Delp swapped places pre-snap and then swapped places again post-snap, and both guys went after Oscar Delp. One of those two guys busted on that play, and everybody saw it.
So that exact play, it was in our end of the field. That's what made me ask this question. Because at that moment, I was thinking, man, I haven't heard Michael Taft's name called all night. And he was supposed to be a first-round safety. He's allegedly like twice the safety that Dan Jackson was, even though every hit he has is almost targeting. I'm like, I haven't heard his name called all night. And then I look down, and he's like directly in front of our seats.
Yeah.
And I just see London Humphreys with the switch route and score the touchdown with Michael Taft running into the defensive back trying to cover Oscar Delp. And it's like,
yep. And what's funny that's one of the two plays I saw him on. The other play I saw Taft on was him trying, I guess he was blitzing, and he was trying to get his hands up to stop Gunnar Stockton from throwing the ball to Noah Thomas for that touchdown, and he failed.
The other one that I noticed him on, actually, the fourth down play, that 4th and 1, this might be the best play that Mike Bobo has called this season. It's where they take Monroe Freeling from left tackle right before the snap. They shift him all the way over to the right end of the offensive line. put Elias Williams at left tackle, get the snap, and it looks like it's going to be a handoff. Toss it to Chauncey as there's 5 people running at Gunner with the football
Mm-hmm.
for like 6 yards. And he was the one guy that attempted to go with Chauncey. Michael
Yep.
Taft he was the one guy. But attempt is the key word there because he had a Kelvin Banks Jr. type of game of where he
He's going to
looked
lose
like he'd
several
never played.
rounds off his draft stock
He
because of
looked
that.
like he'd never played football before in
Mhm.
half of this game.
Mike Bobo will do that to you.
It's just funny. It's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
But a lot's going to be said about how bad Arch played in this game. He didn't really. Like,
No.
he was hesitant. He didn't want to make decisions, and when he did, they often weren't exactly the right ones. His wide receivers didn't help him out because they dropped a lot of passes in this game. He did throw a bad interception. Just point blank, that throw to KJ Bolden was bad.
Yeah.
But
I think it was tipped. I'm not to defend him. I do think it was tipped.
No, and I agree with that. Like it's one of those where every part of this is going to fall onto Arch when Arch didn't play defense.
Yeah.
Arch didn't drop passes. Arch didn't turn into a subway turnstile on the offensive line. Arch didn't call the A gap run for the 30th time of the night. Like, he didn't do any of those things. He had more passing yards than Gunner Stockton, slightly worse completion percentage, but they had to throw the football because they couldn't do anything else. And he had a beautiful touchdown to Ryan Wingo.
Yeah, that was a great throw.
While we're going to laugh at Arch in this one, because
of course we are. Mainly laughing at the fact that he's not hitting the projections from the preseason, and that's not really on him because those projections were kind of impossible.
Yeah.
I'm more laughing at the fact that at the last minute he chose Texas over being the guy that was probably going to be Georgia's starting quarterback in this game.
Yeah.
That's just like poor choices. But at the end of the day, this is an SEC game. Comes down to offensive and defensive line, which Georgia had in abundance the better offensive and defensive line all night. And depth. You have to have the depth to keep guys fresh all night long. And they didn't. Texas is still not there, and that's something that Tyler on Wednesday said that he was concerned about going into this game, was that Texas, while they have been recruiting like they're in the SEC for 2 or 3 years, they don't have a stockpile of next guy up. All right, come on. We've never heard of you before, but you're going to make a play here. Like, before the Ole Miss game, no one had heard of Josh Orton on the defensive line. Like, not to call that guy out, but he's made insane plays every time he's been on the field. And nobody heard of him before the Ole Miss game.
Yep.
So they're not there yet. They probably will be as long as Sark is the coach. He recruits at a very good level. They're obviously a top tier program as far as name recognition. They're just not there yet. So while I will laugh at Texas, while I will specifically laugh at Arch and Michael Taft, they played the players, at least Arch as a player, did everything within his power. Except for make the correct decision a few years ago to come to Athens. I do want to quickly, before I let y'all get into it, there were a few plays that I just want to highlight from Gunner Stockton. Because for whatever reason, he just continues to go under the radar by most of the media.
Mm-hmm.
His touchdown pass to Lawson Lucky, it was 20-ish yards, but it was back of the end zone, so we'll call it mid to high 20-yard pass on a rope.
But yeah, stat wise, it's going to be 6 yards, but it was further than that because of where he was in the end zone.
Yeah.
And Gunner had to backpedal from the pressure there. So probably somewhere around 20, 25 yards, like in the air. He was getting pressured. That was a jump pass. A 25-yard frozen rope dime jump pass for a touchdown. And then the one play that we talked about of he is completely horizontal, getting hit by Anthony Hill Jr., releases the football, and it's a completed pass for positive yards.
Insane.
Yeah, like Gunnar Stockton deserves much more praise, but he's not going to get it. He's not like Haynes King is getting more praise, and Haynes King. That's because Haynes King is the entire offense. He's the entire
Yeah.
team. He's averaging like 350 to 400 yards per game of total offense because no one else on the team is capable of doing anything.
Yep.
So Gunnar needs more love, so we'll give it to him.
He already has more touchdowns than Stetson did in his Heisman finalist season.
Yeah. I saw Dog Nation pointed that out this week.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to point out that the only thing in our preview that we were wrong about headed into this game was we just underestimated how good this Georgia defense would be.
To be fair, the secondary deserved to be underestimated.
I'm not saying they didn't, but it was another 3-sack game. That pass rush was up in Arch's face all night. And Gunnar Stockton, as mentioned, was electric. He definitely needs to be in New York at the end of the season. I doubt he will be because it's all about narratives, but he should be. I do want to send a message to the Texas football program for just a minute. I hope you enjoyed being exposed as a fraud again. You can do all the little chants and dances before the game that you want to if that's what your guys need to get up for a football game because they're just there for a check. Our guys are there because they enjoy being part of the belt that gets firmly applied to your backside. See, Texas, the players on your team are at Texas to hoard oil money for 3 years until they can legally go to the NFL. The guys on our team are at Georgia because they enjoy playing football at the University of Georgia. In other words, one program came to take pictures and do all the superstar stuff, and one program came to eat. But look, if I'm a fan of if I'm a fan of a playoff team that isn't Georgia right now, I'm looking with angry eyes at 4 teams. That's Tennessee, Auburn, Ole Miss, and Florida. Because collectively, those guys had a chance to end Georgia's season early.
Any one of them.
And they blew it. And now, not only is Georgia pretty much a lock for the playoff, unless something catastrophic happens against Charlotte next week, but they're looking like they're playing elite at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody in the postseason that runs into that buzzsaw, you can blame those 4 teams for it.
If Tennessee has a kicker,
yeah.
If Auburn holds on to the football, if Ole Miss has an offensive lineman that can stand up to Josh Horton on that final drive, if Florida wasn't Florida.
Nothing else needs to be said about that one. Yep.
There's nothing I don't like about the way this team's playing right now. And, Mike, before we get to your stuff, there's another guy that I need to bring up because I keep forgetting. DeMello Jones.
Yes.
Number 15,
Hell
cornerback.
For DeMello.
He played quarterback in high school. He was a dual threat quarterback. He comes to Georgia, sits for a year, last year, learns how to play corner. And as a guy that I don't really remember hearing a lot of recruiting buzz about, he's the best corner on the team. I love Ellis. Ellis had a hell of a game.
We're big Dalen Everett supporters, although, Texas, we really expected more, dude.
Yeah, come on now.
But if that fumble had been kept a fumble, he'd have got the pads again. So, could be worse. But, DeMello Jones, in a few weeks, went from a guy that no one had ever heard of to I'm not concerned about that side of the field. I'm just not. It is what it is. I'm going to focus on Dalen. Ellis can get beat, but he has the athleticism to catch back up kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
DeMello Jones went from who to him that quick.
Yeah.
And I think based on the media that I see from Georgia people, he doesn't get enough love. And I am losing my voice because once again last night I lost my voice in a November game by screaming "who" at the top of my lungs for a solid 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
So, all right, Mike. Now that I've interrupted your time multiple times,
No, you're all good. No, I mean, y'all pretty much said everything, but I mean, this defense has grown up considerably since the start of the season. I mean, nobody can argue that. Most of the team, or most of the guys playing are freshmen and sophomores, and like you said, this team is scary. Nobody wants to play this team right now. I think someone even like Ohio State and Indiana, I think I would take Georgia at this point over
Oh yeah.
pretty much anybody that's not Alabama.
Yeah. Anybody that doesn't have that fake Braves logo, got to be nervous to play Georgia.
Yeah.
which Auburn could do the funniest thing in 2 weeks.
Please do it.
Because does a 9-3 Alabama team that lost to 2 unranked teams and doesn't play for the conference title, does the team I just described get a top 12 seed? When you have teams like, I don't know, Georgia Tech that are probably coming in 10-2 with a conference title game, or BYU, whose only 2 losses potentially are Texas Tech, or I understand Alabama beat Vanderbilt, but if Vanderbilt beats Tennessee, how do you keep a 10-2 team out for a 9-3 team that lost to 2 unranked teams?
They kept him out last year. Same thing.
Right. Like, does Alabama
Here's the
make
thing.
the playoffs if Auburn does the funniest thing possible?
Here's the thing though. Let's say that does happen, and let's say Texas beats A&M.
Got the quad.
Yeah.
The quartet, if you will, of Georgia versus Texas. And ironically, all 4 of those games in 2 seasons, cities that start with A.
Ah.
Austin, Atlanta, Athens. Maybe Texas needs to pay the SEC to go to a neutral site for that game in the future. Because they need to be afraid of the A.
Oh yeah.
Bama plays Eastern Illinois next week, and then they go to Auburn. So
man, Jordan Hare Magic is still real. Jordan Hare Magic in multiple overtimes kept A&M out of the playoff last year.
Mm-hmm. Hasn't been seen this year, so they're due, right?
Yeah, if they only get 1 a game now since they fired Gus, this is the one where they need to call in that favor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will say one last thing before we do the award stuff. I appreciate that when they did like the fourth quarter lights and stuff like that, that they're doing swag surf instead. I was pleasantly surprised about that. I don't know if they've been doing that all year or not. I appreciated that.
They have. I will say, look, white people, you're going to continue to pay $500 a ticket to go to Georgia games. You
better
just
start doing the
YouTube-
thing.
You just YouTube swag surf. It's not difficult to do it. I do not need to be
Wait.
one of like 12 people in my section that understand swag surf. I don't. I understand most of y'all, like, pop music in your day was still Michael Jackson. I understand. I do. But we do have YouTube. You do have a phone. Have your adult child or grandchild just teach you how to swag surf, because you can stand up for 30 seconds. I promise you can. Because we're trying to
It
get
is
hype.
possible.
We are trying to get hype. And you taking off that 4-inch tall visor and waving it around is not exciting
Not a
anybody.
swag surf. It's not a swag surf.
No, it is certainly not.
That is swagless spinning.
Yeah.
All right. Caleb already said he's taking offense.
Yeah, I sure am. Because I got some stuff to say about our offensive player of the game. That would be Gunnar Stockton, obviously. 24 for 29 passing, 258 total yards, 5 total touchdowns, just as many touchdowns as he had incompletions. Again.
That's what I say.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
the second
second
time.
time this season.
Yeah, Ole Miss was the same way. Performance
another top
so
10 team.
yeah, amazing. doing his best work against the best teams on the schedule. How about that? A performance so electric, even Aaron Murray had to admit that he's worthy of Heisman consideration.
Oh, layers
And
to that.
I just want to say, as the guy who very publicly called him out and made him angry because of the way he was talking about Gunnar earlier this year, I am taking full credit for this turnaround. Even though it definitely has more to do with Gunner's play just being that undeniable. Bullying works, guys. That's the
Peer
lesson.
pressure, it works.
It does. I'm actively trying to look up a stat here. So, Mike, you want to take defense while I'm trying to get this pulled up?
All right, so the award for defense goes to the entire pass rush.
Yeah.
I talked about what we had 3 sacks, countless pressures on Arch. They've gotten progressively better throughout the year, and things that we were worried about, week 1, week 2, not really as much of a problem at this point. So they're playing their best at the end of the season. This is where you want to start doing that, obviously.
All right, so here's the stat that I was looking up. Gunnar Stockton has played 4 games against ranked teams. He has a combined completion percentage of 77.5, 952 yards, 11 touchdowns, 1 interception, a passer rating of 180.43.
Some might say that's good.
The only person ranked above him in any of those numbers is a man that has played a single game against ranked teams. And he's ahead in completion percentage.
Gotcha.
After Gunnar, it drops 5.4% to the next guy.
Wow.
So, to say that he shines when the lights are brightest, it's quantifiably true, but also an understatement.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get into the...
Marshall Walker went 16 yards. He drove right over Orange Church, just driving and running with those big guys. My God, a
freshman player of the game.
Sorry for interrupting that, y'all, if y'all heard that. I got very confused.
That's Elijah Griffin and Ellis Robinson. And for one very particular reason, Elijah Griffin, it seems like he got banged up a couple of times in this one. Seems like he was dealing with a little bit of an injury. He went in and out a lot more than he has for most of the season. But he got a pass breakup on the screen where no one was within 10 yards of this running back if it had hit. Which, who knows where the game goes if that happens. But Ellis Robinson, 3 tackles, all 3 of them solo, 1 pass defended, and that pass broken up was one of those deep down the sideline where he dove for it and smacked it away. Did he have a pass interference call? Sure. Did that pass interference call prevent Texas from getting a touchdown? Yes. I give him 15. I give him 15 before I give him 6,
Yep.
So, am I still a little concerned about Ellis Robinson and how he gets beat occasionally? Yeah. Is he still the best athlete on the field at any given point of any given game? Yeah. And I'll take that athleticism because he can make up for his mistakes literally on the same play. He's fast enough to do it and athletic enough to do it. So for him to be a redshirt freshman, I'll take it. He can only get better from here. And then who wants Lumberjack? Because once again, my voice will probably not make it through the entire thing.
Yeah, I'll get it. The Lumberjack, again, isn't going to pop on the stat sheets, but we can all agree made one of the most important plays of the night. That would be Cash Jones.
Who?
Cash Jones.
Who?
Dude, I'm so glad, by the way. I don't know if y'all caught this from outside. I'm so glad they gave him the Savage pads after recovering the onside kick because it is a turnover. You're stealing the possession. But I'm just my heart is very happy to have seen Cash Jones wearing the Savage pads.
Yes.
The stadium was lit. Yeah.
Oh, I downloaded so somebody posted a video of that and I downloaded it today so we can use it on social media.
Excellent. But yeah, it just for a guy that 680 was saying shouldn't even have a spot on the roster a few weeks ago, that guy has proven his worth. just by consistently knowing where to be at the right time to make the right play.
Yep.
And so he, as running backs go, he had the third most plays on the day. 0 carries.
Yeah.
Not a single
He had
carry.
3 catches. He had 3 catches though, right?
He did have 3 receptions. But here's the thing. Texas knew every time Cash Jones came onto the field, he was not getting a run. It's not his job in the offense, right? You know how many sacks Gunner took with Cash Jones on the field?
0.
Because this short walk-on white boy took your best pass rusher and stood him up time and time again. So for the 680 guys that are, Cash Jones doesn't deserve his scholarship, when he is asked to do his job, not do somebody else's job because of an injury or not do somebody else's job because they need a moment, when he does his job, he is an integral part of the offense, and you prove that you don't know what you're talking about by saying he doesn't deserve to be on this team.
Yep. It's almost like all they do is try to hot take their way into getting angry reactions.
Which they're very successful at.
Yeah.
But
Sure made me angry.
Yeah.
I think we would actually probably do better as a podcast if we had no clue what we were talking about, because people would respond calling us idiots.
Yeah.
I mean,
sometimes I intentionally clip fire, and they do. So.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, Dez is still on game day.
Yep.
I'm still getting TikTok comments about the Alabama stuff that we put out. Still.
Shout out Kurt Herbstreit and Peter, who walked right past us as we were leaving the game last night, and it's the most I've ever related with Kurt Herbstreit. He was walking his dog, and Peter just wanted to stop and smell everything. And I'm assuming the jet was like ready to take off for Herbie, because he almost had to pick up Peter and walk away, because Peter wanted pets, he wanted sniff, he wanted to get in the trash, and he was like, dude, we got to go. And it was...
Did Kirk allow Peter to get the pets that he needed or wanted?
A couple people, but at the same time, there was security all around him for good reason.
Yeah.
So, no, I think a couple of people pet because they're like, Mike, you know the gate we walked into, like they have the whole like steel barriers up. There's like a 2-foot area you can walk in, kind of thing. But no, that was the most I've ever related with Kirk Herbstreit, and as someone who's not a fan of his commentary, I appreciated him a lot more in that moment.
Yeah.
But if y'all aren't already, follow us on social media so you can calling the dogs, especially after a win like this. That'll be at nothing.finer.pod on Instagram, at finerpod on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, Apple. I'm sure there's other stuff that we're on. Just look us up and you can find us there. I'm sure I'm missing something, but always remember, y'all, there's nothing finer in the land.
And a drunk, obnoxious horns down.